Hi everybody, so what I'm talking to you about today, as specified in the title, is the disappearance and the finding of Vancouver student Elisa Lam's body. So a little bit of background on this case. She went down to LA on, I believe it was January the 26th by herself. She was 21 years old and was a student at UBC, which for those of you who don't know is in Vancouver, and her name was Elisa Lam. So essentially she went down there by herself with the intention of eventually making her way to Santa Cruz, which is north of LA. So she went down to LA by herself, which is sketchy in its own right. I would never travel by myself. I just feel like our world is not a place where we can do that now, unfortunately, as young women. But that's beside the point. So she went down to LA. She stayed in a hotel in downtown LA called the Cecil Hotel. Now, for those of you from Calgary, we used to have a hotel called the Cecil Hotel. The name says it all. It was just very scummy, run down. A lot of addicts hung out there. A lot of prostitutes hung out there. It was not a good time, so the city finally shut it. The version of the Cecil Hotel in LA is essentially the same, if not worse, because two serial killers have lived there in the past 25 years. The first serial killer had killed, I believe it was 14 women, and the second one had killed 11. So that's kind of the type. And I know, again, you can say that a serial killer could live in the Ritz-Carlton, but this was a hotel in LA, Skid Row. For research for the video, I looked it up. The rooms are anywhere between $20 and $40. The people that live there, it's long-term stays generally, so it's not like, oh, I'm going down to LA for a week. It's people that are locally from LA that stay there for months and months and months at a time. There was even one resident who was interviewed for the Elisa Lam story, and he had lived there for 27 years. So it kind of gives you a feel for the type of hotel this was. I hope I'm not offending anybody, but you can kind of understand that it was not a place that, even if a 21-year-old went to LA on her own, you probably shouldn't be staying in a place like that anyway. And if you'd done your research, you'd find out that dozens of young women have been murdered there. So anyway, what had happened was she went missing. She hadn't been in contact with her parents, and apparently she was very adamant about contacting her parents numerous times a day. And her body was just found, I believe, on Tuesday, this past Tuesday. So on February 14th, because the investigation kind of reached a stalemate, the police released a closed-circuit television CCTV video from the elevator of the hotel she was staying, and she acts really weird. And at first, I thought this woman is just on drugs or something, because I'll link the video down below. So first she goes into the elevator, she presses every single button, then she's kind of just like hanging around, then she kind of hides around the corner, then she goes outside, and she's making all these weird motions with her hands, then she jumps back in, presses some more buttons, and then she exits the elevator, and the video ends. So essentially, my first thought was she's on ecstasy or something. She is not right. She's just being crazy. She's being erratic. She's being irrational. I watched the video a few more times, and I think, in my opinion, she was being followed. Because who walks into an elevator, unless you're on drugs or you're a child, and you press she presses every single button and then she hides. I've pressed every single button before. Like, do not get me wrong. But she goes into the elevator, and then, you know, the side of the elevator where the buttons are, she like hides there, and you can see she's like scared, and she mutters something under her breath. Then she peeks her head out again. It's like she's looking to see if anyone is there, and then she comes back in. Then she does the buttons, and then she goes again. She's making all these weird. The only thing that threw me off is the hand thing. I don't know. Eventually, the outcome of the story was her body was found on the roof, which apparently was locked, bolted shut. There's no way you could get out there. But I mean, I've heard time and time again establishments say they're locked, and they're not, and it's kind of a liability thing, because if you say it's unlocked and she drowned, then there's going to be a huge lawsuit, and rightfully so. So her body was found in one of these huge water tanks that supply water to the entire hotel, and not to be gross, but the people staying in the hotel were drinking their water from this tank where her body had been decomposing for the last 2 weeks. So that is just, they've been testing the water. So far it's safe to drink. I mean, I don't know what kind of bacteria would come from a dead body. I would never want to even bathe in that. That is just So I guess what I'm saying is, what do you think happened to her? Do you think that she, in a drunken stupor or in a drug fueled stupor, wandered upstairs? I think that the hotel has some explaining to do, because do they only have one closed-circuit TV in the entire place? I mean, if it is as scummy of a hotel as the media leads on, shouldn't there be numerous video cams? And also, shouldn't there be a video cam in the lobby? Security camera, I'm sorry. A security camera in the lobby showing if she left that day or what? Because if she never left, then you know her body's still in the hotel. Or it went out in a suitcase or something like that. But shouldn't that have kind of been a first thing you would have thought the police would have done? So yeah, what do you think? Do you think that she wandered up to the top, fell into a drum, which apparently was locked as well, and she drowned and it was just a sick and freak accident? Or did one of these people who lives there, or, you know, another serial killer wannabe, follow her, and that's what happened? They saw, you know, a young girl staying at a hotel by herself. They'd been watching her. The video, just like I said, it really throws me off because I'll watch it one time and it's like, okay, she's crazy, and then the next time it's like this girl was being followed. Her friends and family have said, you know, she was a great student, she would never touch drugs, but, I mean, another thing too, she could have went to the bar and had something slipped in her drink, so then you have to look at that situation as, was she slipped a drink and then someone followed her? Was she slipped a drug in her drink and then she just wandered off to the top? I think it's very weird, and some drug analysis have also said even if she was on ecstasy or MDMA, it's very weird that she would have wandered all the way to the top, climbed up this huge, I believe it was 10-foot like drum, and then fall in. I just don't know, and this is a really, I mean, it's a story I'm really interested in following, so let me know what you guys think about the Elisa Lam case. Bye!